auditors confirming 182,000. So we have so far almost about 800 and something thousand yet more to remit. So, Minister, if Ghana Library Authority can take steps to immediately remit this amount to GRA so that these institutions that have been withheld
Executive
at least will be
Director, I
able
hope you are
to
listening
receive
to
the tax credits for all these years. Because one thing that I think we have been considering for the past few weeks, a number of these infractions keep happening. And I ask myself, what are these institutions doing? Because if these institutions will put some bit of action into it and follow up with these institutions, I believe that it will push them to be able to remit these amounts to the GRA. Thank you.
Executive Director, Ghana Library Authority, you are to ensure respect and compliance. I'll follow through with him and his team. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next one will go to his National Service Authority, National Service Scheme. And Honorable Abnao Asare will handle that one, please.
Honorable Minister, should I go on?
Chair, you may want to go on, but I would choose to set the record. I'm not responsible and I do not exercise oversight over the National Service.
So that is why I asked you
Under
first.
President Mohammed's reset is more of a youth-related activity and accordingly have been placed under the oversight of the Honorable Minister for Youth and not the Ministry of Education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We will let the appropriate ministry come and answer to this infraction. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The next one will go to his Student Loan Trust. Honorable Enim will take care of that one.
Okay,
it's on
thank you,
paragraph
Chair.
666.
So, Minister, we'll be considering the financial performance and financial position of Student Loan Trust. With the financial performance, you can see that the bottom line, we are still not doing well. For 2022, we had a deficit of over 5,204,000. Then 2023, we are still reporting a deficit of 5,116,000. Although there was some small improvement, but then it's still very bad situation because we cannot continue to put surpluses. And I know the activities of the Student Loan Trust is not for profit making or anything, but then we should be also be prudent with how we spend within these institutions. I would want to look at the first item, compensation of for employees. It went up by about 33%. I just want to understand whether this was due to the increase or improvement in staff strength, or this was as a result of some increases in bonuses and compensation to employees.
Chairman, thank you very much. It will be a combination of it, new recruitments, promotion, and payment of bonuses. And Chairman, the Ghana Student Loan Trust is now being repositioned by the President to undertake three major core social interventions of the Mahama administration. One, the payment of bursaries, or call it the no-fee stress, which Chair has made significant impact on the life of those students who otherwise, for being financially disadvantaged, may not have been able to pay their fees. Then two, the Ghana Student Loan Trust now is also responsible for the disbursement of the no fees for persons with disability, a new rights-based approach to supporting persons with disability. Chairman, I'm before Parliament, as you recall, and seeking a review of the Ghana Scholarship Authority, it is my view that in future, these two institutions can relate. The Ghana Student Loan Trust Fund and the Scholarship Authority. My view, even though I campaigned unsuccessfully, was that we should earmark 2.5% of oil revenue for human capital development and human resource development, so that into the future we could have what pertains in Sri Lanka, a Ghana bursaries and scholarship authority, so that one arm of it will be responsible for bursaries to pay it to a no fee stress category of persons. And then, Honorable Abuna, you guide us with your experience at the Ministry of Finance. So now you say no fee stress, most impactful initiative of President Mahama. Now, if in September, October, November, the Ministry of Finance is not able to release the money for student loan trust, it defeats the purpose of the intervention. You're asking the student to go and borrow. It's the same student who is in need, who doesn't have the support, who is in dire, urgent need of it. So earlier releases can be useful and supportive. But as I said, my view was that because Ghana have never had a scholarship authority bill, I wanted to work 1 year, see what scholarship will do, deal with this nepotism and chronism associated with allocation of scholarship, provide for some discipline. But believe me, my most impactful lunch as minister was when the no fee stress was launched. I had good sleep that this was an impactful, meaningful social intervention of the president. And many of you sitting here, colleague MPs, you know how much you spend in paying school fees when the period comes. You get demands. So, but just to send a caution, Chairman, the Director General of GTEC is here. I've seen some schools increasing their fees because government says it's absorbing them. We won't accept it. So make sure you issue consequential instructions to your schools not to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We are still on the financial performance. I want to understand one or two things here. From your revenue from exchange transactions, I see here interest income, which went up by about 48%. I just want to understand what form of or what kind of investments is SLTF involved in? What kind of investment that would be able to give you this amount, this increase of about 48%? What kind of investment are they into?
I'm sure normally they get releases from the Ghana Education Trust Fund, and then they deposit it in banks whilst processing payment. Arising out of it, some interest accrue, and that is accountable for what you've just mentioned. And Vice Chairman, I'm happy to announce that we've now, Ghana Student Loan Trust have roped in students at the law school can now go in for the Student Loan Plus. Hitherto, this was not done. The President announced it when he launched the opportunity and facility for persons with disability. And then, Chairman, so here is where you accountants, you can help government. We are thinking of reviewing the interest rate regime of the student loan trust. Now, a student gets a loan, that student gets out of school, he has no job, and you are compounding interest for the student. Mathematically, what's the fairness in that? So we may have to go back to the simple interest regime, but also not jeopardizing the income security of those from whom the money emanates from. But I don't think that it's fair that we compound interest when they don't have jobs. But the student loan trust, I believe, is doing well. I've requested GetFund to increase their budgetary allocation so that those, in addition to their need, if the government is paying off your no fee stress, and you think that you need an additional 5,000 or 10,000 to support your need, you can go back to the student loan trust, enter an arrangement with them, and you'll be supported. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think that I asked this question because I saw the drop in your current ratio, which in financial sense, it makes a lot of sense because we are utilizing the cash resources that we do have, and that is what resulted in the increase in the interest income. And that is something that will encourage that all these institutions will learn from and be able to adopt these good cash management practices. Thank you, Chair.
Chairman, the member is forcing me to behave like the chairperson. Abena. What is current ratio? Me, I know debit, the receiver, credit, the giver. Yeah, taking me to the world of current ratio. The accountants here, we want to respond to that. All I remember is debit, the receiver, credit, the giver. I don't remember.
Honorable Minister, I would like to ask you a question on unreturned pickup vehicles loan to national security. The auditors are saying that we cited a letter with reference number SCR/DC 28/554/01D, dated April 7th, 2020, from the Office of the President, requesting for the release of the vehicles to national security, which stated that the vehicles will be returned upon completion. We noted during our review of assets management that 100 brand new Isuzu pickup vehicles procured by the ministry in 2020 to be distributed to various SHS and other education institutions to facilitate teaching, learning, and other administrative activities were released to Lieutenant Colonel Faustina Dennison with National Security on 28th of March 2020 and 29th of March 2020 to assist in the fight of COVID-19 pandemic. These vehicles have not been returned to the ministry after the pandemic ended. We also noted that no change of ownership was effected from the supplier's name, Mac Autos and Spare Parts Ghana Limited, into the ministry's name before the vehicles were released to the national security. And it gives a long list over here. We recommended that the Chief Director should, as a matter of urgency, recover all the vehicles, and any vehicle not in good condition should be replaced by the national security, failing which the Chief Director should be held liable. Minister, what has happened to these vehicles?
Chairman, the Chief Director is here. It's your whole but Chair, to assure you that it's important that we put your question in context. As you yourself rightly observe, COVID, the country had to go through some national emergency in containing COVID. And probably at the time, national security required those vehicles. You know, government procurement. You couldn't have been waiting that go through procurement of 1 to 3 months to get vehicles to release to national security. They needed to be around the country to support health emergency staff in fixing and supporting the delivery of health services to those who require them. Chairman, I'm liaising with the Office of the Chief of Staff and the Office of National Security Coordinator for the retrieval of those vehicles. Chair, I'll share with you a letter edited and signed by me, which I forwarded to the National Security Coordinator to account for those vehicles, and I'll do follow up on them. I thank you.
Okay, so let me go back to the GetFund issue, the financials of GetFund. Looking at the financials, GetFund, if you look at the revenue from exchange transactions, 2022, Minister, will you be the one answering the questions of GetFund?
Chairman, our attempt, if you are not satisfied, then the GetFund administrator himself will come in. But I'll attempt an answer.
Honorable Minister, then maybe we need to reschedule them.
Chairman will be happy if you reschedule us to deal with the GetFund.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Akwesi Akonedo has a question to ask.
Chairman, thank you very much. There's a very quick one. Minister, the Public Accounts Committee is one of the committees that is of very importance and relevance in our financial management arrangements in this country. Because once Parliament allocates monies to ministries, agents, and departments, it's important that accountability, fairness, prudence, and transparency in its management is required. With your rich experience, I met you as the majority-minority leader, and with you being in this house for a very long time, in just about, say, 3 sentences, how do you find this committee, and how do you think that in this 9th Parliament and going forward, we can augment the work that we do so that at least the nation's finances and the people who are entrusted with the care of these monies will be prudent, fair, and adequate in the management of these resources?
Thank you very much, Honorable Akwesi Akonedo. And, if there is a medical person in this committee or in this room, growing up, I'm reminded that a flawless diagnosis at autopsy is impossible. So when the Public Accounts Committee, you are doing very well, and you've saved the country billions. Even for those of us with sociology background, the mere fact that he is to appear before public accounts operates as a social control measure. Will I survive? Can I survive? Will I make it? Restraining. It will redefine public officers' posture. And you are holding us accountable as required by the Constitution. I believe Article 187 mandates you. But, Chairman, the Parliament of Ghana and the executive and the judiciary have not been fair to the taxpayer. We ought to remember at all times that sovereignty resides in the people. And when you are spending public resources, we all must be reminded that there will be dire consequences when you betray the public trust. Now refer to Article 1876 of the Constitution. It says that Parliament shall, after debating the report, where necessary, recommend a committee in the public interest. So if from 1993 to yesterday, Parliament has not been responsive, that is an injustice to the Ghanaian people, in my view. But it doesn't take the Auditor General. He has done his work. It counts to you at public account. But again, Chairman, Ghana, we operate with law. There is a worrying Supreme Court ruling on the matter. So, for instance, if anybody appears before your committee and then, forgive me, somebody wants to do a prosecution based on Public Accounts Committee, the Supreme Court ruling, I don't have the title, may operate as a limitation, because are you exhaustive? After your committee, nothing happened, no committee. The Supreme Court and the courts of Ghana will be guided. So my advice to your committee is not just your committee, but Parliament. I know President Mahama recently announced that he was going to engage with the Auditor General, the Chief Justice. I think he should extend it to include the Speaker of Parliament, so that the trial will have a discussion how to move beyond public account findings. And it is only Parliament. It didn't say the executive. It didn't say the judiciary. It says Parliament. There are many things, 1993, the Constitution guaranteed that, including spousal rights. We've gone to sleep on it. Since 93, you don't have legislation governing that. So my advice is that, in fact, in Australia, the Auditor General sits in Parliament. That's how important they view the work you are doing in some Parliament. In fact, the best ally of Parliament is the Auditor General. But in Ghana, you are interested in what I said, post-mortem findings. when the harm has been done, then Abena, the able chair, will question and query us with members of the committee. But I think that in terms of guaranteeing and ensuring accountability from the days of Kandapa, Salas Mensa to Abena Asari, you are doing a good job in holding public officials accountable to respect the Public Financial Management Act and other enabling legislation. But we can do better if the three co-equal organs of state will be minded that they need to protect the public purse and guarantee value for money. I think that would be useful. Thank you.
Yeah. Minister, thank you very much. But we always seem to forget that audit is done at the end of the year. So it is not when, I don't think in their position they would want to do it after the harm has been done. But their mandate says that they will have to audit at the end of the year. So that if we have our internal controls in the various ministries, departments, and agencies working efficiently, beyond what they also do, we can help to bring the many infractions that they are cited at the end of the year down if we enforce the sanctions as we meted out to any public officer, whether a political figure or a public servant. If we are able to enforce those sanctions, I don't think that the infractions will be so much that at the end of the year, when their mandate is to look at things at the end of the year and they come, we will see the number of things, the number of infractions we are seeing. So beyond what we do, we should also make sure the systems and the processes that have been set in the law for proper use of public resources, we should ensure that they work. And once they work, I believe that with your suggestion that Parliament, the judiciary, legislature, and the executive should work together in conjunction with the Auditor General, we will go a long way to see that many of these infractions are reduced to its barest minimum. So it is us, and it is also enforcing the laws as it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Chair and Honorable Abena, I know where you stand when it comes to PFM, Public Financial Management, with the like of Tekpe and Ivame. So I'm not saying that there shouldn't be efficiency. Internal controls need to be strengthened. But what I'm saying is that don't wait until the body is in the mortuary and you say you want to find out why it is in that. But I'm guided. So we leave it to you to do your post public expenditure scrutiny. That is your mandate. But I agree with you that we should strengthen internal controls and emphasize more on preventing many of these infractions. By your committee in the last decade and two have saved the state billions of Ghana cedis, and you can do better. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your insightful comment about it. But two things, so that at least Chairman can discharge you for others to come. First and foremost, it's good that you bring our attention to Article 1866 and 1876, reactivating that to make sure that another committee within it comes to do a follow-up on those ones is very important. But secondly, you made a point about post-mortem. However, I don't know how it may sound in the minds of public officials listening, but they must bear in mind, post-mortem is important, and every single infraction that the Auditor General raises, every single infraction ends up becoming criminal infractions, and criminality has no limitation. So regardless of it being post-mortem, that is what the statute says. It must be done at the end of the financial year, so that the infractions that you commit will then be brought here to be expatiated on. And remember that it has no time limit. That is why at times we can even sit to consider 2021 reports. So regardless of it being post-mortem, we still have the mandate to pursue anybody who causes financial burden to the state unwarranted. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. I can only say I concur with the Honourable Member. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, thank you so much. appearing before the committee to answer these questions. You and your ministry, you are discharged. Now let's call Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. Clerk, make sure that they take the oath to tell the truth, please. And anybody else in that ministry who would answer questions needs to make sure they take the oath.
I, Samuel Nate George,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and the other members of the committee?
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Samuel Nate George, Member of Parliament for Dingo Pram Pram and Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. I'm joined this morning by the Honorable Adams Mohammed Suparu, Member of Parliament for Sisala West and Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. We have the Chief Director, Mr. Yao Alexander Affle of the Ministry. We also have the Director of Finance.
Minister, I'm sorry, we would like to hear their voices also.
Well noted, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Mohammed Adams Sukaro, Member of Parliament for Sisala West, and also Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Alexander Yao Affle, Chief Director, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations.
Good morning, Chairman. Please, my name is Sylvia Amoro. I'm the Director of Finance, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jifa Gunu, Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Digital Centers.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Stephen Kingsley Bernier, Deputy Managing Director, Finance and Administration, Ghana Post Company Limited.
Good morning. My name is Cosmas Ampengno, Acting Executive Secretary, Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Rita Straha, Managing Director, Ghana Post.
Okay, we'll start your financials with Postal and Courier Services, and Honorable OPK will. Honorable Minister, we have a lot of things to clear with you before we start. And let me start with non-payment of yearly advance of $6 million US. And I'm quoting from the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, ministries, departments, and other agencies for the year ended 31st December 2024. Now, the ministry, there was a contract of commercialization of e-government infrastructure between Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. That was the name during her government's time. Now we have changed the name.
You said what?
No. And infrastructure. And Lebara Ghana Limited, signed on August 15, 2018, says that during the term of the initial 5-year period of the contract, Lebara Ghana shall make an advance payment of $2 million US for the first year, and thereafter a yearly advance payment of $1 million US to Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. Pursuant to clause 4.5 of the principal contract, Lebara Ghana Limited assigned all its rights and responsibilities to Smart Infraco. We noted that between 2020 and 2024, Smart Infraco, a special purpose vehicle, failed to remit to the ministry a total amount of $6 million as yearly advance payment, which becomes due on the first quarter of each year. And then it has the years over here. 2020, $2 million not paid. 2021, $1 million not paid. 2022, $1 million not paid. 2023, same way. 2024, same way. We recommend that the Chief Director should recover the total amount of $6 million US with interest at the prevailing Bank of Ghana rate from Smart Infraco, failing which remedies as stipulated in the contract should be activated. Minister, what says you?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, this contract actually started in 2015 when I served on the board of the National IT Agency. In fact, Madam Rita Straha, who is today Managing Director, was also on the board at the time when that board approved for the then MD to engage Lebara. The contract was not consummated before we left office in 2016, and the Akufo-Addo government took the decision to sign with Lebara in 2018. The terms of the contract are as you have read out in the Auditor General's report. However, we have been appraised of addendums to the original contract. Addendums which have sought to alter the letter and spirit of the original contract. The original contract was for Lebara Ghana, a private company, to commercialize the excess capacity of NITA, the National IT Agency. There had been about $300 million worth of investment by the John Mahama I administration. And so we asked that the infrastructure of NITA should be commercialized and there should be a profit sharing between the private entity and NITA. However, we were very clear that it should be on new business. So NITA already had a number of government agencies as its client. That business was supposed to be exempt from this commercialization, because this new entity was not going to be bringing in this new business. But for example, on the Eastern Corridor Fiber, you had 48 core, and at that time, we were using less than 6 core. And so to commercialize the rest of the infrastructure, we said we needed a private vehicle to do this. There were 120 LTE base stations which we thought could be commercialized. Mr. Chair, or Madam Chair, it's become evident to us that there have been 2 addendums that have changed the contract, handed over fully the entire government infrastructure to this private entity. In fact, an SPV was set up called Smart Infraco that took over all rights of Libara Ghana. Now, I have referred this to the Attorney General for his advice, and so, but the issues we have raised for the Attorney General to advise us on is that the terms of the original contract stated that Libara could not assign more than 20% of their rights to a third party. Now, the current situation is an SPV has been set up called Smart Infraco that has taken over 100% of Libara's rights. The other issue that arises is the fact that when we took over the ministry and there was the need to change passwords for some government agencies, it became clear to me, and unfortunately my Director General for NITA is not here, he's a bit under the weather. NITA had no access to the National Data Center.
Minister, you mentioned that the terms had changed in one breath, and in another breath, you also said that they had also amended the main contract. So, isn't the change of terms, wasn't it as a result of the amendment of the original contract?
Exactly so, Madam Chair. But again, I leave this for the advice of the Attorney General and the lawyers, that you cannot alter the terms of a parent contract in such a manner that vitiates the intent of the original contract. Because the original contract said you could not assign more than 20%. Now you have a situation where you've done an addendum that has taken over the entire rights and handed them over. So again, that's a question for the lawyers to determine if that is legally right and permissible by our laws. But the change in the terms are on the basis of that addendum. Now the question is, against the spirit and letter of the original contract, is that admissible? The fact that it was signed, is it legally tenable? And is that's a matter for the Attorney General that we've written to. But like the point I was making was when we took over office and when I was appointed in February 2025, we realized that NITA, the National IT Agency, had absolutely no access to the National Data Center, and for them to be able to effect the changes, they needed to make a request to the private entity, Smart Infraco. That I called the meeting immediately and requested for a meeting, and now NITA has root access to the National Data Center and has fiscal access as well to the data center. On the issue of the 6 million, that was part of the original contract. Now, my understanding from the briefings we've received is that Smart Infraco says they spent money doing rectification of the infrastructure that they acquired. And for that reason, they are offsetting it against what was supposed to be deliverables to NITA. My position as minister has been clear. You have an obligation under the contract, meet those obligations. Pay the $6 million to NITA. Then submit your claims for any rectifications that you did. Let that be authenticated and verified. And then let's see the terms of the contract. Did the terms of the agreement say that you were supposed to take the infrastructure in situ the way it was? Or were you supposed to take it and rectify it at the expense of the state? Those are questions that need to be settled. So this 6 million is owed the state, and we've written to the Attorney General to advise us on the steps to reclaim the $6 million. But Mr. Chair, the last point I will make is that I believe that this matter is of grave national importance, because the infrastructure we talk about is our national data center. That's where all our critical assets sit. As we speak, the country is aware of what's going on with the Ministry of Health and the LIMS contract. Mr. Chair, the Ministry of Health has reached out to us to provide some support for the stopgap measure they want to do. Now, we are being told that that contract, which is not being, or this service that we are going to render from the National Data Center to the Ministry of Health, must be signed with this private entity and payments made to the private entity. And so I have written officially to the Director General of NITA, instructing him to engage the Ministry of Health directly and not through the private entity, because the asset is the property of the Ghanaian people, paid for in full by the Ghanaian people with our taxes, and this is another government agency we are offering services to. If any payments will be made, it will be made to NITA directly. The terms of the contract must be that Smart Infraco should go and bring new contracts and new jobs and share revenue, and not that they sit back and then our government asset has been handed over to a private entity and they are commercializing it and taking all the revenue. This is what I inherited, and this is what we are trying to fix.
Well, thank you very much, Minister. I can understand the explanations you are giving to this committee. Our concern has to do with public funds that ought to come to the public. Whatever you are suggesting sounds to me like a policy direction that you want to undertake. When the report came before this committee, we wrote to the companies involved, and they have also given us their response. But just so we are all on the same page and we do not take this thing so lightly, I want to read to you that per the report from Smart Infraco, they claim that Clause 6 required that Smart Infraco restored all infrastructure within 12 months using its own capital. They also claim in Clause 6.4 that the company was allowed to deduct capital expenditure, direct cost, and taxes before calculating revenue share. And in Clause 12 of the same report, it also states that there was a second addendum which overrides the original contract in case of inconsistencies. And I seem to understand your concern with changes in contracts and all of that. But with a few contract law that we've learned, this is a clear case of novation. One company, one private company moving to the other. Because they are not here, and because it also involves some legal documents and all of that, that is why we're also reading to you the response that they have given to this committee. So I want to find out from you if you have an idea of what the company is saying, and that the clauses that they claim, especially Clause 6 and 12, are contained in the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I've just pulled out the contract, and I'm going to read the original contract, the parent contract. I'm going to read Clause 4, and the heading for 4 is Cost and Risk. 4.1 says, save the procurement of an irrevocable bank guarantee or letters of credit. Libera Ghana shall undertake the obligations of this contract project at its own cost and risk. So now this means that whatever cost was supposed to arise out of the execution of the contract, this is clearly stated here, and like you said, contract law, clause 4.1, would be at the instance of Libera Ghana, the parent company, the company that we signed the contract with. So, you see, we need to be minded as public office holders that whilst we want to support private business, we cannot do it at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer. So if the original contract says that any cost and risk associated with the execution of this contract is at the expense of the private party, and then a minister takes a decision to vary that in an addendum and say that she's transferring that cost and risk from the private entity to the Ghanaian taxpayer, there must be proper justification for same. Unless you show me what it is, I, as minister, with the evidence available to me, still hold the view that whatever was agreed in the parent contract, which is the 6 million we're talking about here for the first 5 years, should be paid to the tax kitty. If there are any conversations to be had about whether there's an addendum that has shifted liability for cost, we can then have that conversation. But to deprive the taxpayer of this anticipated revenue on the back of a policy directive, I think may be problematic.
See, Minister, I mean, we are not here to want to defend any past government official, and I can understand. I mean, once the new government takes over, there's a new direction, and from how you speak, we realize that probably maybe you would want NITA to take a different direction with respect to this contract. But once the state has a contract with some parties, I can see the original contract, which was signed somewhere in 2018 with Libara, is what you are making references to. But I also want to bring to your attention that in 2020, this same contract was novated to Smart Infraco Limited. And this was with approval of all parties. And of course, in terms of contracts, addendums and variations are always, they come in. I mean, we can vary a contract subject to the fact that all parties have come into a certain agreement. And I also know that you are aware, because we have with us a due diligence report that was conducted by Tata Communications Limited, and we've been provided with that report, and I'm sure it's going to help us moving forward. But so that you know that addendums in contracts are not illegal. They are not unlawful. It happens every day in contracts. And so let's speak to what exactly we have that got varied along the line, along the value chain in this contract. And I think that it will help the committee. Thank you very much.
I must also admit that in the response that they gave to us, Smart Infraco admits that they owe. So it is not like they are not acknowledging that they owe government. From their reports, the report that they gave to us on page 5 of 8, it says that Smart Infraco acknowledges the outstanding amount of $1 million, in addition to a balance of $162,518, and which has been featured in the accounts and submitted to the ministry. So there is some liability that they themselves have acknowledged. But from what I read from their reports, that the addendum necessitated a change in the advance payment. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I have read, they are saying that the addendum that they made to the original contract, the variation that they made to the original contract, necessitated a change in the advance payment. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. But this is what is in front of me. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, you are absolutely correct that that is the position of Smart Infraco. But that's why I started by saying that this is not about what Sam George's position is or what Smart Infraco's position is. It's about what the position of the law is. Nobody has said that addendums to a law, to a contract are illegal. I have never made that claim here. Addendums are a legal part, are part of the legal process of contracting. However, the question we're raising is that when addendums change substantially what the original contract was, we have chosen to subject that to the Attorney General's advice. And that's why I'm saying that if today you have a report which we are not privy to, the document you reference as a response from Smart Infraco to the committee, we haven't seen at the ministry. But if in that they admit some liability, it comes back to support my initial submission and position that the 6 million ought to be paid to the states. When that is paid to the state, they can make whatever claims, because let's not forget, the claims are now being made on the back of the addendum. Not because the parent contract says that all the cost and risk should be borne by the private entity. Now they are saying that the addendum allows for them to move that liability to government. Because that's why they are saying that they don't owe 6 million. The cost that they claim they spent in rectifying the infrastructure is the reason why, in their response to you, I want to believe, they are saying that liability is not 6 million, but 1 million and about 160,000, if I heard you right, Madam Chair. And so that's why I'm saying that claim must be submitted. That claim cannot be made by the private entity and then say that we have decided that government owes us this, so we are deducting it from government's money, and this is what we will give. No, that power does not rest with a private entity.
As for that one, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. And so the point is
that we should validate the costs that they claim they charge, the profits that they earned, and then to find out truly if that was so. And then we can make progress and see where they owe us and then they need to pay, or where, we need to offset them with one thing or the other. But truly, I understand that we need to validate the costs involved.
That's the point of the ministry.
I have gone through the reports myself, and then in a couple of, in certain years, you see the revenue and then you see the costs. They charge the costs that they said they have incurred to the revenue, and we end up, when I say we, I mean government. Ends up owing them some money. So it is, in the light of all that is happening, I strongly believe that, yes, we should validate all the costs that they charge to the revenues that came in, and where they ought to pay, they pay. And so as for revalidating those terms, and in terms of the costs that they applied to the revenues after the addendum or the renewal, the tweaking of the contracts, I believe that we should look at it and put it in perspective. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy that we are in agreement that there needs to be a validation of the claims, and then we on the back of that, decide how to proceed. But bottom line is, so long as there is an obligation to the state, that must be met. Because if you don't meet that, then, as the auditors have indicated, we will begin to charge interest at prevailing bank rates because you are holding government revenue. So it's best that they submit what is owed to the state whilst we do the validation. Because if the longer they hold it, to settle the Auditor General, we would have to surcharge them the interest on the monies that they are holding at the prevailing bank rate.
Yeah, thank you. But, Minister, are you able to provide this committee copies of the original contract, the various variations that happen along the value chain, i.e. the various addendums, the first one and the second one, so that we can run that alongside the response that they gave us and the due diligence, so that the committee can arrive? We need those documents from you. Can you assure the committee of these documents?
Madam Chair, if I'm a minister for digital technology, if you would allow me apply digital technology, I can actually send it to you electronically right now.
We will be very
before I rise from the chair.
We'll be very
you can have the secretariat print. So I'm just going to forward it to Madam Chair and yourself immediately.
Thank you.
You see, honorable members, what we need to look at is what the auditors recommended. So whether there's been a change here or there, what the auditors are saying is Smart Infraco owes 6 million. Pay the money, and then afterwards we'll look at anything else that they have. Now the second question. Okay, OPK, then ask your second question. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
The minister has just sworn an oath. He cannot answer. You are disrupting our meeting.
Honorable, you are a member of, you are a very good, you are a solid member of this committee. We appreciate that. But you just took an oath And that, yes. So, initially, your minister wanted to find out from you if you were part of him or you'll be here. And you opted to be there. And you have taken that oath. So be there.
Chairman, like my colleague OPK Riley said, I am a member of the committee, and we are speaking to an audit report. But I heard my colleague reading from a report from the company that we are discussing, a report to him alone, and not to all the members of the committee. If you have a copy, I, as a member, I do not have a copy. Please, I'm coming. I think that there were recommendations by the auditors who audited the ministries. And they recommended that an amount of $6 million should be retrieved from the said company. We are speaking to the report. My colleague, I was expecting him to ask the auditors what were their point of references when they were conducting that audit. He chose to ignore, and he spoke to a document before him. And he was asking questions or reading to the minister from document that is only presented to him alone. And I don't know where he got the document from.
Honorable member.
Which,
Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, please, if you can allow me to land. I appeared here.
Yeah.
I represented my minister. And you gave a specific instructions that the chief director, the finance director, and the company, you want them here. You didn't tell me that the company should write to the committee. You said the chief director, the finance director, and the company involved, you wanted them here. I am surprised that I am here to assist my minister, and my colleague is actually reading from a report purported to be coming from the company. And so when you do that, and the auditors are sitting here, I seem to be lost. So I don't know which one we are speaking to.
Honorable member, a very good standing member of the committee. I made a pronouncement before you started. We are going by the Auditor General's report. So whatever that company has written or not, we are going through Auditor General's report. And as the minister said, he has consulted the Attorney General to advise on it. So that's where we are going. So Attorney General will advise on it, and then we'll go by what the Auditor Generals have said. So what he read is not part of the report.
Whatever we discuss here is being captured by the Hansard, and I believe that that will be part of the report that will be prepared by the committee.
Honorable member, that's the way we are going. We are going by the Auditor General's report.
Mr. Chair, the truth of the matter is that this committee wrote a letter to the companies in question. In fact, we've written letters to Libara, we've written letters to Smart Infraco. First was for them to appear before this committee, and they gave us a detailed response, and this came from Smart Infraco because, I mean, like we all said, the initial contract was between the state and Libara, but later it was novated to Smart Infraco, and they are those handling the thing now. So whatever I am referring to are responses that are before this committee. Yes, you may ask for copies of that. These documents came on Friday. These documents came to this committee on Friday. And the only thing that you needed to do as a member was to ask your leader, ask me that you want copies, and I'll make them available to you. But you can't be in these two shoes. You have sworn an oath to be a member of the ministry, and now you are challenging on a committee works. I don't think it is proper. I mean, nothing untoward has happened, and we what we seek to do is to find out the truth and how we are able to save the state money. That is all we are interested in this committee. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, honorable members, I have ruled on it. We are going by what the Auditor General has given us. And if we have any issues, the ministry has any issues, you are going through the Attorney General. Let it stay the way that it is. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Chairman, just to announce that per the request that came, I have forwarded to yourself, the chair and the deputy vice chair, the original contract, the first addendum and the second addendum. I've sent them electronically to you. I would be grateful if you can confirm receipt of same.
Yes, I can confirm receipts of those reports. And I think it's the same contracts that Smart Infraco and the others sent to us when they responded to it. But it's just a word of advice. Usually, when you are out with your minister and your minister speaks, that is final. This is just a word of advice, because I have also been where I have been a deputy minister, and usually when we go out and your minister speaks, it is final. This is just a word of advice. And I think you spoke to us clearly. You said you were going to carry out A, B, C, and D. The chairperson for this sitting ruled and said, for us, we are following the Auditor General's report, so that irrespective of what has been said here, it is the Auditor General's report that we are following. I also made I agreed with you on certain portions of it that clearly, for me, I'm not comfortable with the whole costs being applied to the way to the revenue the way it was done. So I also agree with you that we should validate the costs and then come out with the actual that truly they owe the states or whatever it is, and then we can make progress and move forward. That should have been the end of the discussion. So, Minister, thank you very much. Just a word of advice. We've been there.
Okay, let's make progress. Let's go to the next infraction. It's on paragraph 1471, and OPK will handle that one.
And this has to do with some unsupported payment to Smart Infraco, 6,755,175 Ghana cedis. Minister, December 20th, 2023, your ministry paid 6,755,174.94 to Smart Infraco Limited for a connectivity platform. The issues the auditors have with this payment is that there were no supporting documents, no evidence of services rendered, no certificate of work done, and no expenditure justification. Are you able to tell this committee if what your response is on this infraction, and we can take it from.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just so that the records bear this out, this did not happen under Sam George, but at the ministry, yes, by my predecessor. In 2023, this happened in 2023, just so that the records bear us out clear, because we won't superintend over such action. But we have followed up. We've followed up, and NITA, which is the implementing agency on this project, has been asked to submit all the documentation on the project. They've submitted a closure of project report to us. The letter via which they send that to us is NITA/MOCD/VAS/20/12/22. And that was dated 22nd December 2020. We've sent it to the audit services for verification. I don't know if they received it and what the status of that is. But NITA has provided us some documentation relative to that payment. Again, bear in mind that NITA is under new management. And so whatever they've been able to retrieve, we forwarded to the audit service pending their verification. If they verify the amount, then I believe that will bring closure to it. But if they raise queries on it, then we'll need to further dig into that matter.
Auditors, are you able to confirm whether or not you received documentations to to the effect of these payments.
Honorable Chair, will be pleased if they have it here, they provide the documents to us, because we don't have it now at the moment.
The minister is is a digitized man, so he can send you soft copy. This one you have a hard copy.
Again, if they want us to provide them a soft copy, a digital copy, we can. But I also have a physical hard copy here, which I can table before the committee for the review of the auditors. But then it has to be authenticated and verified. But this is what we've received, and we have a copy here.
Thank you. And you see, Minister, I keep on referring to the response that Smart Infraco gave us. Probably maybe we should make copies available to you, so that at least we are able to reconcile and get there. Because in their response, they deny this payment. They deny that these payments were made to them, but they claim that they could justify for the payment. No, I'm coming. They also claim that the Auditor General's report miscalculated or misclassified the payment, arguing that it was not part of the e-government infrastructure commercialization contract, but rather a different project altogether. And so we will share with you their response. We'll share with the auditors their response, so that we can reconcile and have a certain agreement with respect to this, so that we know what the real challenge is. What is it that if we have to make any reference to the Auditor General, to the Attorney General, what is it specifically that we are doing? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I am guided, and I'm grateful to get a copy of the responses. However, I just want to make the point clear. My fidelity is to the state. It's not to a company. And once my fidelity is to the state, as a member of Parliament myself and a former member of this committee, I understand that what forms the base material for my decision-making is not a company's rendition and response, but the Auditor General of Ghana's report. And so long as the Auditor General of Ghana has raised questions about that payment, even if a private company thinks that they have challenges, they can have redress to the courts, to have redress to the courts to clear their names. And sitting in this committee as a member, we've had cause to ask companies to go to court to clear their name and challenge the decisions of the Auditor General. But sitting in this chair as Minister of State, my fidelity is to the Ghanaian people and the Auditor General's report, and that says that that payment was questionable. We have raised the documentation that we have found. I think that we should allow the Auditor General to verify and authenticate and vet it. And then on the basis of the rule of the decision of the Auditor General, we can proceed, but not on the opinion of a private company. Thank you.
Certainly, we agree with you 100%. I mean, we sit here with the sole aim to protect the public purse. How we do that, I mean, we won't be members of this committee, is that we interrogate the matter beyond what the Auditor General has given us. Then we can now report to Parliament, the plenary, what indeed the Auditor General meant in the committee. In doing so, your feedback, that of the Auditor General, and in this case, the last reference where we brought on board the companies, all matter. So we respect your response. We also appreciate the response from the company. We also rely heavily on what the Auditor General tells us. Then we can now conclude. And that is why I was making reference to the response that they gave us. And we are ready to even give you a copy so that it can help you in your reconciliation and even in your moving forward. So for us, it's about the state. And I know for you, it's about the state. That is why we are here. Thank you very much.
All right. Just like I ruled earlier, we are going by the Auditor General's report. Whatever the company has given to us, we'll allow them to go through it with the Attorney General and the Auditor General. We are here reviewing Auditor General's report. Okay, now let's move on. Ministry of Communications. Let's go to the Postal and Courier Services. And Honorable OPK, you go through the financials.
Thank you very much. And Minister, I want to refer you to page 910. And it's on your financial performance with respect to Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission. So your commission ended the year with a deficit of 259,631, as compared to a surplus that was that you made in 2021. And this represents a decline of about 131% in your financial statement. Are you able to give reasons for this decline? Thank you.
Madam Chair, again, archival material, because this predates us coming into the office, but the understanding we have is that in 2021, there was some level of enforcement activities that happened. And normally when you do enforcement activities, you have revenue inflows, because when you carry out an enforcement activity, people come and register to stay on track. And so that would have accounted for the spike you saw in 2021 vis-a-vis the other year, where it looked as though there was really not much of enforcement done that year. So you'll see that most times from the earnings. But again, like I said, these are based on information available to us since we're not in the seat at the time.
Thank you, and I appreciate your response. But if you look at the statement, it looks like in 2021, the subvention that came to the commission was 1,740,369, as compared to that of 2022, which was 758,000.
Thank you so much for staying with us on Channel 1 TV. I am Zoe Abubedu Ado. We do apologize. We have to cut into the Public Accounts Committee sitting and bring you newsfeed now. Hello, welcome to Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. I am Zoe Abubedu. Coming up, Bureau of Public Safety demands arrest and probe of a Sutifi North Member of Parliament over attack on NIMO's task force at Brony in the Ahafo region. Also coming up, Lightwave e-Healthcare Solutions Limited challenges Health Minister's claim on e-health contract, data control and payments. Coming up in business, Ghana to soon roll out a new foreign exchange management framework to strengthen the country's external reserves. And later in sports, Heart of Oak and Asante Kotoko remain unbeaten ahead of the weekend super clash in the Ghana Premier League. To the details of our stories now. And the Bureau of Public Safety has called for the immediate arrest and investigation of Member of Parliament for Esutifi North, Ebenezer Kwekwado, and his alleged accomplices over a violent attack on officers from the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, at Brony near Shidim in the Ahafo region. In a statement issued, the Bureau described the incident as a clear obstruction of law enforcement officers in their discharge of their lawful duties, condemning it in the strongest possible terms. The assault reportedly involved the destruction of property and endangered the lives of public officials and military personnel on duty. We've been joined on the phone line by an expert on geo and engineering hazards with the Bureau of Public Safety for more on this. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Prodio Yao Abutui.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Right. Would you say we need to strengthen our operational security protocols for all anti-illegal mining task force based on what happened over the weekend?
Yes. I mean, what happened shows clearly that we need to structure the NIMOS properly. and grant them a lot of protection. And there have been a lot of stories about and information. In fact, it's true that most of the areas where they do this galamsey, people are armed to the teeth. People have guns. So we cannot leave a task force of this nature to be working without any protection. And we must put in proper security protocols, and we need strong numbers, and people must be armed.
We do apologize. We lost Dr. Agbotui there. We'll try and reconnect him on the phone lines and expand this issue further. Meanwhile, the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Eric Abavari, has called for the immediate resignation of 2 members of parliament allegedly linked to illegal mining activities, commonly known as galamsey. His comments come after some youth attacked a team of military officers from the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat during an anti-galamsey operation. The incident occurred after the soldiers arrested 2 suspected illegal miners and seized vehicles and weapons at a mining site near Bronikrom Shidem. The arrest reportedly sparked unrest among some locals who confronted the task force, forcing police to intervene. Now let's go back over the phone lines and speak to Dr. Prodio Yao Agbotui, who was explaining the incident that happened yesterday. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Now, away from that, we want to find out if there are implications for this on the galamsey fight.
Yes, there are implications, a lot of implications. The first implication is it has to do with during the campaigning of last year, NDC promised that they will fight galamsey. And when they come back, they come to power, this is one of the things they will do. If this 9 months does not deliver, it can cost votes for the party, for the NDC government. Secondly, and more importantly, if you look at the national interest, we are losing water resources. Look at Ghana Water tells us that nowadays it's so difficult to treat water for drinking purposes. And we all saw that around the Nyakro area. Look at what the high turbidity levels that are, it is not allowed. Look at the forests we are losing. Look at the soils we are losing. We are even losing cocoa farms. It has an impact on us. The implications are dire, and if 9 months fails, we will be in very difficult times. And it's already showing. It's already so that the implications are enormous. We cannot let this slide. We must fight this galamsey battle and win.
You are calling for the arrest of the Member of Parliament for Esutufi North. Why not asking for a probe until he is found guilty of anything that happened yesterday? Because from the videos that we saw, we did not personally see him involved in the incident.
Yes, he must. I think he must be invited. Yes, he must be. He must be. An arrest does not mean that you have been put in handcuffs, but there must be initial investigations, and that can lead to an arrest and an invitation for interrogation, so that. And then further investigation into what really went on, both at the national level, to ensure that this does not repeat itself. So that a clear clarion call is sent out there that no matter who you are, whether you are in government, you are an opposition, you are an MP, you are a civil servant, you cannot go against institutions of state, especially when they are on the course for such an act. Such a problem that is of national interest.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Dr. Prodio Yao Agbotui, who's an expert on geo and engineering hazard. Let's still stay a little longer on this story because the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yuhuno, has directed the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters to take over investigations into the attack on the Director of Operations of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat and his team by thugs at Shidim in the Ahafo region. The Member of Parliament for Isutifi North, Ebenezer Kwekwado, who is alleged to have incited the mob and obstructed the NIMOS team, has also been invited, I must say, to assist ongoing investigations into the incident. Let's bring you one of our headline stories now. And Lightwave eHealthcare Solutions Limited has strongly refuted allegations made by the Health Minister Kwabena Mintah-Kando concerning the management of Ghana's National eHealth Program and the Lightwave Health Information Management System. In a statement issued, the company described the minister's claims as false and misleading. It said the remarks risked distorting facts and undermining Ghana's progress in the e-health digitization. Lightwave urged an end to what it describes as uninformed commentary on the matter and is calling for a constructive resolution to an avoidable impasse. Let's now speak to the Senior Project Manager for the Lightwave e-health Solutions, Eric Eje. He has actually been speaking to Channel 1 News, so let's listen to what he had to say.
All these allegations that the minister has thrown out there, especially saying this on the floor of Parliament, they are all untrue. They are all untrue. Lightwave does not host any of the country's data that we have collected using the Lightwave Health Information Management System in the country. We host everything here in the country. Every facility is autonomous. They have their own server. So every facility have its own server, and if you go to a clinic today or any hospital today and you need your medical records when you have been seen by a doctor, they will be able to print it or make it available to you by mail, whichever way you want it. What sits at the Ministry of Health third floor is the data center, or what we call, where we pick all data that has been received at the facility level. We provide a backup solution in that extent at the Ministry of Health. So those allegations of stating or such are on.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health will this week begin its 4-week plan to overhaul the nation's failing electronic healthcare management system. The minister stated that health facilities will be gradually migrated to the new system over the next 4 weeks, beginning with regional hospitals nationwide this week.
You'd all agree with me that the contract was meant for 3 years and extended to for 5 years for 950 facilities, and you have only delivered 450 facilities. Clearly, nobody needs to tell you that the company underperformed. The plan going forward is that in the next 1 week, we are going to begin with the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the highly populated district hospitals, the CHIPs. In the 4th week, we'll do the mop-ups. So I am confidently announcing to the good people of this country that we have a 4 weeks plan that will get us out of this mess.
A member of the National Democratic Congress communication team, Delali Sewokbo, has described the controversy surrounding Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited as only the tip of the iceberg in what he alleges to be a series of scandals involving former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. President John Dramani Mahama has directed the immediate termination of all contracts between the Government of Ghana and Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited following the conclusion of an investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Speaking on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Mr. Sewokbo accused Mr. Ofori-Atta of engaging in what he calls glaring corrupt activities during his time at the Finance Ministry.
For crying out loud, must we engage in this glaring corrupt activity just because you don't care who, just because even within your own establishment, within the MPP, you were thank God, and for that matter, I mean, it's so mind-boggling. And I want my colleagues from the MPP to appreciate one thing. See, the only way the NPP can regain a little bit of credibility, right, is to give up on people like Mr. Kenufuriata. I'm being honest and frank with you.
Their own finance minister.
Listen, see, all the things that we are working really to yesterday, this is just a tip of the iceberg.
Really?
I'm telling you.
There's more?
I said, there's more scandal involving Mr. Kenufuriata. This is just a tip of the iceberg.
Now, the concerned unemployed teacher trainees have threatened to stage a protest on November 10 if the government fails to provide a clear timeline for their postings. The group, made up of over 15,000 trained teachers from the 2023 batch of College of Education graduates, say the government's inaction continues to negatively impact their livelihoods. Speaking on the Channel 1 newsroom on Channel 1 TV, Vice President of the group, Ishen de Graft Brown, appealed to the relevant authorities to address their concerns swiftly.
We have had several engagements with Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education, and even GES. And still, we were even asking for a clear timeline to our recruitment. But since we've not heard anything, I am told that Monday, the Public Accounts Committee will be meeting the Minister for Education. And also, we want to know when clearance will be given to us. 13th November will be the day they will be reading the budget for 2026. And so we won't sit for that budget to be read without knowing our fate. So roughly by 10th November, we are planning to hit out to the street. That is, if you don't hear any clear timeline from either GES, Ministry of Education, or Ministry of Finance.
You're still watching Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. I am Zoe Abubeidwado. Still to come, State Housing Company Limited to offer 15% discount as part of nationwide revenue mobilization drive to recover outstanding financial obligations from clients. We'll tell you more shortly. Please stay with us.
And selling. In Africa, too hard? Not anymore.
Afro-quality. Buy African, build Africa.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensa.
For social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to
Welcome back to Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. Let's bring you some more stories now. And the State Housing Company Limited says it is offering a 15% discount as part of a nationwide revenue mobilization drive to recover outstanding financial obligations from clients. According to the State Housing Company, significant amounts in millions of cedis are owed to the company by clients, which, if not addressed, will affect the company's operations. Addressing the press in Accra, Managing Director John Bauer explained that the company is offering a 15% discount from 3rd November to the 31st of December to all clients who owe the company, provided they settle their arrears.
It requires sustainable financing models to keep housing delivery going. The State Housing Company Limited, though owned by the government of Ghana, is not a subvented company. What this means is that all of our operations are funded wholly by the money we generate through our operations. So today I am pleased to officially announce that we are embarking on a revenue mobilization campaign. It will run from today, November 3rd, to December 31st, 2025. And what we are offering is a 15% discount on all outstanding fees and obligations owed by our clients if they settle their debts in full during this period. This discount campaign is to ease the financial burden on our valued clients while encouraging full compliance.
Now, parents are being encouraged to incorporate toys into their children's playtime to support their overall development in an increasingly fast-paced world. Stakeholders say toys play a vital role in stimulating creativity and cognitive growth while helping children learn through play. Operations Manager of Kidsville, Solomon Kwabena Ajuman, made the observation at the opening of a new Kidsville branch at East Legon with a wide range of products.
We are in the AI movement. We are in the era where kids need a lot of these toys to help them open their horizon. It helps them to play. We have play toys. We have toys that they would help them to also master their talents. So it's toys. It helps them to also, as they are playing, they are still opening. It's opening their mind to also learn more things. So toys is at first we thought toys was just something that we kids play with it. But this time toys, we can see we have a lot of sophisticated toys that will help kids to open up their minds, to also help them to learn as they play. Basically, so toys are very, very important to kids now. I would like to tell parents that they shouldn't underestimate the power of toys. But if they want to get the best of toys, it's very, very important, because if you have to spend a lot of money to buy toys and in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, that you just get a spoiled toy, why don't you spend a little and get the original one? And you can see from our range of products, they are the best from the manufacturers itself. So they should kindly get toys for their kids to help them open their minds.
This is Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. Up next is Business with Nashika Caesar. Hello, Nashika.
Hi, Zoe.
Nice to have you.
Likewise, good to see you again.
Thank you. What do we have in the world of business? What's topical?
Well, the IMF has been talking about Ghana's economy, and I'll give you the details in a bit.
All right, please take a look.
Now, Ghana will soon roll out a new foreign exchange management framework to strengthen the country's external reserves and reduce volatility in the city. It forms part of key reforms agreed during the recently concluded fifth review of Ghana's IMF-supported program. The new framework, jointly developed by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the Bank of Ghana, will be rule-based and transparent to ensure that interventions in the forex market are more predictable and market-driven. In a yet-to-be-aired interview on The Point of View on Channel 1 TV, airing later tonight, the IMF resident representative in Ghana, Dr. Adrian Alter, confirmed that operational details will soon be approved before implementation.
First, continue to rebuild the FX buffers, right?
By that you mean reserves?
Reserves, exactly. Second, to smoothen volatility of the exchange rate. This should be a framework where you have some certain rules, and when volatility exceeds certain levels or the exchange rate movements are not in line with fundamentals. And then the third one is on the intermediation of the FX flows, including those that are going through Goldbod.
So is this framework being implemented as we speak, or it is now being put in place? The framework, is this something that we already are using, or something we are considering? I just want to understand that.
Together with the BOG, we are still working on the final details.
Now, last week, the government missed its Treasury bills target by 13%, securing 4.61 billion Ghana cedis against the intended 5.32 billion Ghana cedis. Data from the Bank of Ghana indicates that, as in previous weeks, all bids tendered were fully accepted. Here's more.
A closer look at the auction shows that the 91-day bill attracted the bulk of subscriptions, recording 3.75 billion Ghana cedis in bids. The 182-day bill followed with 567 million Ghana cedis, while the 364-day bill drew 309 million Ghana cedis. Market analysts say the government's need for funds may have reached its highest point, causing a shift in strategy. Instead of focusing on keeping interest rates low, the government now seems more focused on meeting its borrowing targets. This may explain why why all bids were accepted even though interest rates went up slightly. Yields edged up slightly across all tenors, with the 91-day bill gaining 14 basis points to 10.81%, the 182-day rising 3 basis points to 12.49%, and the 364-day inching up 8 basis points to 12.95%. Looking ahead, the government has set a higher target of 6.83 billion Ghana cedis for the next auction.
And that's it for business. I am Nashika Caesar.
You're still watching Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. Up next is sports with Gabi Ofe. Hi, Gabi.
Hi, Zoe.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Yourself?
I'm doing well, too.
Right.
I guess you have some good news ahead of the Super Clash this weekend.
Yep. So Hearts and Kotoko, they are going to that game on the back of a very good start to this season's campaign. Both teams are unbeaten, so you should know. Both teams actually started the season with new coaches. On the part of Hearts, they brought in Didi Dramani. Kotoko have got Abdul Karim Zito.
All right.
So it's a testy tie.
All right, give us the details.
All right. Now, Kumasi Asante, Kotoko and Hearts of Folk both recorded victories over the weekend, setting the stage for their much anticipated Super Clash at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, Hearts edged Bosake Holy Stars 2-1 away from home, while Kotoko claimed a convincing win over Karela United at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Both teams will now turn their attention to the weekend showdown in the match day 9 fixture. There's more in the following report.
In that game, anyone or Kotoko now would have to see they can strike. Yo! What a goal!
Asante Kotoko returned to winning ways in an emphatic fashion, overpowering Karela United 4-2 in a thrilling Ghana Premier League encounter at the Barbara Sports Stadium on Sunday. The Porcupine Warriors, eager to bounce back after their CAF Confederation Cup exit, delivered a dominant attacking performance despite the absence of key forward Albert Amoa, who recently completed a move to Al Ali Benghazi in Libya. The standout performer on the day was Hubert Jao, who stole the show with a brilliant brace, much to the delight of assistant coach Prince Yawusu.
I wanted to win this game, and then it will be a very good alarm for House of Folk to think about. It's not going to be easy. We are just wounded, and we want to prove something. And that's what we're doing right now.
Kotoko's rivals were also 2-1 winners over Bosake Holy Stars, leaving both Hearts and Kotoko as the only unbeaten teams heading into the much-anticipated Super Clash at the Accra Sports Stadium this weekend. Meanwhile, Mediama Sporting Club came from a goal down to secure a 1-0 draw against newly promoted side Hohoi United at the Hohoi Sports Stadium.
We have the chances, but I think in our way, you take 1 point, it's good. It's okay.
Sudio All Blacks staged a late comeback to earn a 1-0 draw against Heart of Lions at the Sudio Sports Complex. At the Dance Park, Bibiani Gold Stars returned to winning ways with a narrow victory over Young Apostles. Following this weekend's results, Indiana FC sit atop the Premier League table with 18 points, closely followed by Mediama Sporting Club in second place on 17 points. Bibiani Gold Stars are third with 16 points, while Heart of Folk sit fourth, also on 16 points, heading into this weekend's highly anticipated clash. Now let's take you to the English Premier League, and Bournemouth winger Antoine Semenyo says he's not oblivious to speculation around his future, but is glad he remained with the Cherries in the summer. Now Semenyo was linked with a number of clubs after his former teammate Dean Huijsen, Milos Kerkez and Ilya Zabaini made big moves in the last transfer window.
Yeah, no, I back myself. I do back myself. It's funny, I had my friends over yesterday and it's just saying that like what you're doing is unbelievable. Just like everybody back home is like, they would dream to be in a position like you, and you're doing so well, and you're still so humble and still the same person you were when you were a kid. It's just, it's just a blessing in disguise. So, yeah, I mean, I do pinch myself about it. Me and my brother laugh about it all the time, but yeah.
And he plays as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays.
Eastleigh.
Yeah, he's at Eastleigh.
What position does he play?
Right wing back.
Okay.
So
How old is he?
22.
22. Okay, so there's another Semenyo, and I would definitely get the scouts out there.
he's built just like me. So.
Is he? Yeah. Left foot, right foot.
Left foot, right foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the very latest in the world of sports. I am Gabi Ofer.
And that'll be all for Newsfeed on Channel 1 TV. I am Zoe Abube-Eduardo. Many thanks for watching. This is still Channel 1 TV. We'll take you back to Parliament where the Public Accounts Committee is sitting.
Other equally important things that I believe we should spend some time to help them with, like you are helping GDCL, help them with, and that should help them reduce their expenditure. The fact that they make more revenue doesn't mean, we should spend. So that's a note of caution to Minister, your agencies.
MD,
yes.
this is advice from the chair through me to you. You are guided. You want to take it as policy position.
All right. Let's go to the infractions. Unretired imprest of 59,877. Have we retired this imprest?
Has been retired and submitted to the Auditor Generals for verification in May 2025.
Auditors, could you confirm, please?
Honorable Chair, we can confirm that the imprest has been retired. Thank you.
Thank you. The next infraction is on paragraph 953, and Honorable Akwesi Kunedu will handle that one.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction has to do with the renovation of Bekwai Post Office. And the auditors found that you did not seek concurrent approval for a variation of about 34,743 Ghana cedis. And they recommended that you seek that approval. Has that been done?
That was done and submitted. It was done. The variation was done. It was ratified by the Entity Tender Committee during its meeting on the 16th of November 2024, and that has been submitted to the Auditor Generals for verification.
Auditors, can you please confirm for us if that has been done?
Honorable Chair, the variation was subsequently ratified by the ETC. Thank you.
All right. The next infraction is on paragraph 958, and Honorable Shirley Che will take care of that one.
Thank you. This is to do with procurements not executed through Ghana Electronic Procurement System. And our Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, public corporations and state-owned entities are to maintain good governance and management practices. The Public Procurement Authority, reference letter PPA CEO 10/2491/23, made it mandatory for covered entities and state-owned enterprises to use the Ghana Electronic Procurement Systems for all government procurements. Now the question is, why did you choose not to use the Ghana Procurement Electronic Systems in transactions totaling over 7 million Ghana cedis?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the Ghana Post operates in a very competitive area, and for that reason, we have in our hands here evidence of exemption by the Public Procurement Authority from us using the GANEPS for procurement. I have in my hand here a letter dated 21st February 2023, signed by the Chief Executive, Mr. Frank Mante. And let me just read paragraph 4. Approval is hereby conveyed for the exclusion of Ghana Post Company Limited from applying the public procurement procedures in its operation, subject to meeting the board requirement below. And then the full letter is here. And then I also have here, dated Wednesday, 9th July 2025, the gazette of that exemption. So because we have that exemption, they will not be running their procurements through GANEPS. Thank you.
But that information...
sorry, a copy has been shared with the Auditor General.
So is there a reason why the auditors were not informed or were not given a copy of this letter?
At the time the audit was done, even though the approval had been given, it had not been gazetted. And so that's why we see, I said the letter was 21st February 2023, but the gazette is dated 9th of July 2025. The new management was the one that did the gazette. And so that's why at the time the audit was done, there was no gazette to show to them.
Okay, good enough explanation, but I don't see how you are walking through an alleyway, there is light in one and there's darkness in one, and you choose to walk through darkness. I mean, what would be the consequence for practicing good governance? And I don't know why you were given that exemption. But I think the auditors recommended that you comply going forward. So can you give us an update if you've started complying?
Honorable Chair, we are not walking in any darkness. We are walking in light. The Ghana Post Company Limited has its own procurement manual approved by the PPA. So it's not the Wild West where procurements are just happening in any way. No. There's a specialized manual because, like I said, they operate against, the Ghana Post is operating against all the private courier companies that you see in the country. They don't, if Ghana Post was bidding, for example, the passport job, they went into that as a competitive bid with all the private entities who went in there. It would then mean that they will have to go through PPA and get commencement authorization and all the things that we're talking about today. That's why the PPA, in its wisdom, developed its procurement manual for it. And so it's not as though it's a murky ground where there's no transparency. It's guided by the PPA's own procedure. And the board ratifies. Yes.
So my question was, you are meant to comply going forward. That's what management's response to the auditors was, that you were going to seek clarification and then start complying. So can you inform the committee if you've started complying?
Yes, Chair. That compliance is evidenced by the Gazette notice that we have done, dated 9th of July 2025.
Thank you very much.
All right. The next question, the next infraction is going to ask you why you didn't gazette it. And,
Ghana Post, you were given exemption from GANEP, from the use of GANEP, but you failed to publish that exemption. Why?
Honorable Abina says I should say that it's a continuum. So it's a continuum. We take responsibility for it, and we are sure that that's part of the reason why there was a change in government. Thank you.
The auditors...
Is that the answer to his question, or he did not ask you any question?
I asked why they failed to publish the exemption granted them by the National by the Public Procurement Authority. That is the question.
That was the question.
Yes.
Yes, but Minister, some of these things, when the public servants fail to do what is required of them, let's not hide behind the politicians and say, oh, this or that. Clearly, this is not something a minister will even do. You, the head or the procurement director or whoever, you are supposed to do those things. So it has nothing to do with government doing this or government not doing that. The person who was supposed to do it should have done it. So, Minister, this is not this or that, but it's when the public officers are supposed to do something, they ought to do it. When the politicians are also supposed to do something, then we also ought to do it and take responsibility as such. I mean, that's fair.
I'm fully in agreement with you, Honorable Chair. It's just that when the public servants mess up, they blame us. But we also, when they do it right, we also take the funds. So the buck stops with us. And I believe that as political appointees, we also have a responsibility of some sort to exercise oversight over the public servants who we oversee. So I think it's just managing that fine balance. Thank you.
Mr. Minister, has that been done so far?
Yes, please. We've stated earlier that we have done the Gazette. The able management at Ghana Post has done the Gazette dated Wednesday, 9th July 2025. So that's been done.
Can you confirm that?
Honorable Chair, we'll be pleased to have a copy of the Gazette. When we did a follow-up, what we had was a letter from BPA giving them exemption. But we are yet to cite the Gazette. Thank you.
Minister, do you have the copy of the...
Chairman, you know that this minister, because he's a former member of this committee, always comes prepared. I don't want to be in the position the chair was in here some time back. So I came prepared. I have my Gazette here. So please, clerk, come and take the Gazette and give to...
Right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, that is it.
You have to wait for us to tell you whether you came well prepared or not. You don't tell yourself you came well prepared. Just take your time, finish with the proceedings. If we are satisfied with your conduct, then we will say, yes, you came very well prepared and you have delivered. So, what did you do?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Hello. Okay, the next infraction is on paragraph 969, and Honorable Frankie Eboa will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. And this one is on failure to account for strategic partnership operations. Paragraph 969. And Chairman, with your leave, I want to read Section 11 of the Audit Service Act 2000, Act 584, which states that the Auditor General or any person authorized or appointed for the purpose by the Auditor General shall have access to all books, records, returns, and other documents, including documents in computerized and electronic form relating to or relevant to those accounts. So with that in mind, Minister, this one, I want to advise that you allow the public servant to also come in as well, because this one can be something that will be continuing. So Ghana Post entered into an agreement with a company called Collins C Investment Limited in March 2020 for the procurement, installation, maintenance, and management of their mail and parcel boxes. They open an account at Car Bank. What I mean by they open an account is the company, Collins C Investment Limited, open an account at Car Bank to pay the revenue collected into that account. When the auditors came to do their audit, they asked for profit, the details of the profit generated, revenue, expenditure, and the bank statement of that particular account with Car Bank. And according to the auditors, you failed to provide that information. So they recommended that you provide that information, and failing to do so will mean that you have to be sanctioned under Section 33 of the Audit Service Act. So what's the current status of the auditor's recommendation?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We have proceeded to terminate the contract because Collins T was unresponsive, and I hold in my hands here a letter dated 17th June 2025, signed by the MD for Ghana Post. The heading is Notice of Termination of Contract. And so we terminated that contract on the 17th of June, and then proceeded again on the 12th of September 2025 to give notice to the company to recover all customer information that was in the possession of the company. So currently, the company has no contractual engagement with Ghana Post, and Ghana Post is following up with their lawyers to see if there are any funds, apart from the customer data that we've recovered, if there are any funds that are due us, to ensure that through the right legal processes, we retrieve all of those funds.
Okay, thank you, Minister. But did this contract come with performance security?
No, there was no performance security assigned to the contract. There was no performance security assigned to the contract.
Thank you, Minister. Mr. Chairman, I'm done. Thank you.
All right. Now, the next infraction is on paragraph 976. And Honorable Sebastian Day will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. The next infraction actually borders on non-documentation of assets of the Ghana Post. And it's Section 52 of the PFM Act 2016, Act 921 to be specific, states that the principal spending officer shall maintain a register of lands, buildings, and other assets under the control and possession of the principal spending officer. And I believe in this case that's Mrs. Straha, is it? However, the auditor, in the audit process of 2023 ended, detected or noted during the inspection that the company, Ghana Post, did not have ownership documents or land title certificates for 3 parcels of land and 241 of your post offices. The details of the land, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairman, include the Bubuashi office.
Chair, I would respectfully make the plea that we do not mention the specific locations. Reason being that you put it out and then you can have encroachers go in there. So we know the 3 locations.
Okay.
So I'll plead that you stay away from.
So 3 locations and then 241 post offices.
Minister, I agree with you because the one in Greater Accra, I'm interested in it.
Yeah, Minister, thanks for that prompt. But the fact remains that 241 of our post offices do not have land title certificates or proper documentation. Now, the auditor's recommendation for this is to this effect, that you must take the necessary steps to prevent or to ensure that documents are proper to prevent any litigation. My question is, what is the status?
Thank you very much, Chair. And I'm grateful to the Chair and the committee for obliging my request to leave the existing locations. Because even in one of the locations, we're currently dealing with encroachments there. You don't want to have a lot more people go and encroach before you complete. But what I can state on the record is that we have started all the processes for regularization of the documents. Cadastral plans have been prepared and submitted to the Lands Commission. They have acknowledged same. They are preparing the bills for us on one of the parcels. And one of the other parcels, they are actually giving us a bill. The bill was about 1 million Ghana cedis. We wrote back to the Lands Commission asking for a downward review. They gave us a 25% downward review. And so the company is in the process of raising the funds to pay, because some of these lands are huge parcels. And so when you look at the costs from the Lands Commission, again, we are minded not to just dump all of that immediately into 1 year's financial expenditure. So we are trying to regularize them. The other one, we have a 45-year sublease from the grantor. I'm sure that that's the land the chairman says he was very interested in. We have a 45-year lease from the grantor. We have paid, we've made a down payment that is almost 75% of what they are asking for. And that again is even Forex denominated. So we've done substantial work to secure the lands. Now on the post offices, 241 of them, they are littered across the country. And so the company has started an assets register, and an asset registry basically, and is taking stock of the locations and the conditions and situations of all the various titles, because some of them, they started the process, it wasn't completed, some nothing at all has been done. So they're in different stages, so that we can then engage the Lands Commission as one state agency to another to see how well we can stagger the payments for regularization. Because if we were to regularize all of these lands in 1 year, we'll be spending in excess of 100 million Ghana cedis, which would basically bankrupt the company. So, but we would want to start the process and work with the Lands Commission to stagger the payment over a number of years. But work is actively underway to ensure that we secure all of our assets.
All right. Thank you very much. The next infraction is on paragraph 981. Did you check out from the auditors?
Well, the minister did indicate that they are in the process of doing it, and I think that his answers were satisfactory. But the auditors can buttress what he has said.
Yes, Honorable Chair, they've taken steps to register their land. The documents that we have perused, they have taken the concrete steps in registering their lands. Thank you.
All right. The next infraction is on paragraph 981. And Honorable Cletus will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction is on unaccounted revenue, 18,275 Ghana cedis. Mr. Chairman, under the audit review, some revenue were collected and then banked with the Ghana Post account, leaving an amount of 18,274 Ghana cedis. I want to find out from the minister whether this money has been refunded, because the auditors recommended that the said amount should be collected from the officers involved. May I know from the minister whether that has been done?
Mr. Chair, we have banked all the revenue, but let me just make a point here to help the auditors and the committee. Part of the reason why you have some of these instances where the revenue is not banked immediately is when you look at where the post office is and where the nearest bank is and the revenue that comes in a day. If they were to bank the revenue every day, they may end up using 80% of the revenue as transportation to the bank and back. So some of them, there are varying banking practices. Some do a daily banking, some do a weekly, some even do a monthly. In this particular case, we have submitted to the auditors the full records of the banking to show that all the unaccounted for revenue have been banked. But this is what occasions the delays in some of the bankings.
Minister, what do you recommend in such situation?
Well, we recommend that the auditors bear this in mind when they go into some of the locations, because if you go there and it appears as though, I'm sure if you went to my deputy's constituency, if you have to leave Golu to Tumu every day to go and bank, how much does the post office generate? So we would have to find a way with the auditors to explain the peculiarity of every post office to them. But right now, what we have done is to show evidence that all the revenue has been accounted for, and I'm sure you can verify from the auditors.
My last one, Minister, I want you to help this committee. It's not, this matter or this issue is just not about your outfit. It has come to this platform a number of times. How about if you hear that the revenue collector kept the money in the house and they've stolen the money? How about that?
Well, that is a real challenge to the situation that we have. The question will be, do we want to use digital money solutions? So take, for example, if the lodgement for the day is done, will you go to a mobile money operator and then deposit it into a wallet and transfer into Ghana, in this case, Ghana Post bank account? Now, the question you should ask yourself is, there are going to be bank charges with the related movements. That would also have to be factored into all of this, because you can't expect the staff to bear the cost of this. But I think that if we want to deal with this, we can give a directive that says that no matter what it is, at the end of the day, go and deposit it into a mobile wallet and transfer to the bank digitally. But then it then means that, you see, the issue with bank charges is when I go to a traditional bank to do a transaction and there are bank charges, when you print out the bank statement, you see all the bank charges in there for auditors to be able to verify. When you do mobile money transfers using an agent, you will not be able to generate the charges bit in a ledger form that is unique to just that entity, except we then decide that we want to now create vendor SIMs for every post office that will only be used for the financial transaction of that post office. That may be the only way by which you may then be able to say that. So if it is Telecel cash or AT cash or MTN cash, when they come, you then request from the telecom company the print out of that vendor SIM, which is used only for that transaction. But there are nuances to these things, and so we must be careful not to cut our nose to spite our face.
Sir, thank you so much. Good explanation. Auditors, can you confirm that the money has been collected?
Yes, Honorable Chair, the amount has been banked.
All right, the next infraction is on paragraph 986, and Honorable Ahinkwa will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction is on unaccounted revenue totaling 136,000 Ghana cedis. The audit report disclosed that post offices within Accra West region of the company did not account for revenue totaling 136,000 generated from general operations and other internal generated funds. The head of Accra West region explained that the irregularity occurred as a result of delay in release of operational funds to the various post offices. As a result, payment for operational expenditure were made out of the gross revenue collected by the various post offices. The auditors made the following 3 recommendations. 1, that management should recover the unaccounted revenue of the 136,000 from the staff involved. 2, that management should ensure that all revenue collected from the various post offices are promptly deposited in the gross company's revenue account without disbursement. And the 3rd one, management should ensure that operational funds are released to the various regional offices in a timely manner to avoid direct disbursement from the daily sales revenue. Before I have 3 questions. Who is responsible for the release of the operational funds to the various post offices?
Head office.
It might have accounted
head
for...
Head office. Head
Okay.
office is responsible.
So what was the challenge?
Okay, so Chair, in responding to this whole, the Accra West Regional District, Accra West Regional District oversees 14 post offices: Kaneshi or Doko, Dansoman Estate, Dansoman Community, Dakuman, STC, Abosiokai. It oversees 26, but there are 14 that have the issue. Abosiokai, Malam, Ni Boyman, Weja, Kolibu, Odupongpehe, Kaswanyanyano, and Abeka. Now, the challenge you have is that previously releases were not going on time for operational expenditure to the various district offices. So what then happens is, once the release has not been made from head office, the post offices still need to carry out their daily operations. And so for whatever revenue they get, they hold some to carry out the operational expenditures, awaiting the release from head office. When head office finally makes the receipts, then they go and do the settlement in the bank. I can assure you that under this new dispensation, that's not the case. Releases are going on time, monthly, and so there is no justification for anybody to, especially in urban areas where you don't have the challenges we just discussed with the previous question, where banking distance occasions them to hold the funds for like a week or a month. In urban areas like Accra, nobody has that excuse to hold the funds anymore. We're making sure that the funds go when they have to go, they get their operational expenditure. And so this thing, they call it firm receipts. The staff people, they have a title name for it, I've just been told, they call it firm receipts. The issue of firm receipts is no longer an issue in parts of our operations now, because funds go regularly. And then with respect to the issues that have been raised in the Auditor General's report, all of those have been settled. We've submitted claims to and evidence to the auditors for verification.
Auditors, can you verify or authenticate their claims?
Yes, Honorable Chair, we'll be pleased to have the documents if you have it. Because, yes, we have not seen it.
We'll run a copy, because these are originals. We'll run a copy and then submit same to you. So we have the originals here, but we'll just run copies for the audit service.
All right, the next infraction is on paragraph 993, and Honorable Desmond Paytu would handle them.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, this infraction is about unaccounted revenue, a total of 45,136.10, which affected 4 stations, Ejiso, YEW, Kumasi, Konongo, and Agogo. And auditors were saying that such money should be recovered and paid same to the appropriate accounts. So I want to find out whether the money has been recovered and paid same to the account due. Thank you.
Chairman, recovery has been made, payment has been made, evidence has been shared with the Auditor General. Thank you.
Auditors, we would like you to confirm whether the payment has been done.
Yes, Honorable Chair, we can confirm that that has been done.
Chair, I think that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next infraction is on paragraph 1000, and Honorable Nasser will take care of that one.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Minister, this unsupported payments in your Western Region office, I would just like to find out if the CEO has been able to provide the relevant documents to the auditors to support the payments of about 69,000 of taxpayers' money. 1,000.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, we have honorary receipts from the head, which we have shared with the auditors, covering the full amount from the head of the Western Regional Office.
Auditors, please can you confirm the claim by the Minister?
Yes, Honorable Chair, the payments have been supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You and your team, you are discharged. Now we call...
Minister, I'll give you 70 over 100.
Chairman.
That is an A.
Are we overruling this question?
Well done.
Minister of Defense, please.
So substantive question. It's always here, but listed, but it's overruled.
Clerk, could you please let them take the oath, please?
They're ready.
I, Ernest Broja-Jenfi,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and allow the other members to introduce themselves? Please have a seat.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, my name is Ernest Broja-Jenfi, Deputy Minister for Defense. And I'm here together with the Deputy Commandant from the Kofi Annan International Peace Training Center.
Please let us hear his voice.
Okay.
And his rank and everything.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Chair. My name is Brigadier General Zibrim Bawa Ayorogo. I am the Deputy Commandant of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Yes, sir.
So, Comfort Chairman, Director HR, Ministry of Defense, representing the Chief Director, Mr. Emmanuel Kate, who has traveled on the official business abroad. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I'm Robert Adwini, the Director of Administration, KIPTC.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. I'm Lawrence Akotobe Diakon, the Chief Finance Officer, KIPTC. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Dr. Kweku Danso. I serve as the Dean at the Faculty of Academic Affairs, KAIPTC. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yours is not an infraction, and we have to look at your financial records. And Honorable Akwesi Kunedu will handle that, please.
Chairman, thank you very much. Deputy and Brigadier, welcome.
Thank you, Honorable.
Just some two quick explanations to the financial statement, because if you look at the financial statement, you are well on track. And let's commend you for that. Your current ratio has increased significantly, and that is good. But just for purposes of clarity, what is your operating income? Because you seem to have increased that very significantly from 82 to 126,000. Then probably can add what your direct costs are, those two, because that also increased significantly, because those are the very changes that happened in your financial statement worth noting.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the Kofi Annan International Peace Training Center is an international center for training. And so we have a lot of donor funding that comes in to support the training center. And so anytime we have lower inflows in terms of donor funding, you would find that the operating income goes down. And then anytime we have a lot more inflow in terms of the donor funding, you would see an increase in that. And for the year under review, would notice that we had a huge support from Canada in terms of the LC Initiative Fund and the support for gender inclusiveness. And so for that year, you would notice that that funding from Canada increased from about 1 million Ghana cedis to about 20 million. And that accounts for the huge difference in terms of the operating income. There are other countries that have been very consistent in supporting the training center. And I believe that we must commend them for their continued support. And if you check the financial statement, we've listed them: the Denmark, Austria, British High Commission, Nigeria, France, Germany, Japan, Switzerland, Denmark, again, Sweden, and Canada. And these are the countries that mainly support the center. Thank you.
Deputy, thank you very much. I think that is good. I'll commend you. And let's to say, just keep the administrative and general expenses down and keep up with the good work. Because the year under review 2023, you've done a very good job. So, Commandant, you and your men, salute.
Are you the one? How are you doing? Okay. We worked together for a while.
Yes, I'm doing well.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Minister.
Minister, you are discharged.
Well, oh, yeah.
Now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.